Alright, what is up guys? My name is Sam and today I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to the new LCK podcast. My name is Sam and I'll be your host for this podcast for the 2020 LCK season. Um, Today I'd like to make the first episode a little uh, about KeSPA Cup, about the new rosters and maybe power rankings and just talking in general what you can expect from the LCK in 2020. Alright, so first off, let's talk about KeSPA Cup. KeSPA Cup has been very interesting to watch because I'm not gonna really talk about the weaker matches because no one really cares, right? But when it comes to the eventual winners in Africa Freaks, I think no one really expected them to win with their additions of Mystic and Fly and such, but it was really strange because the semifinals were T1 versus Sandbox, where Sandbox came out victorious 3-1, and Dragon X versus Africa Freaks, where Africa won 3-0. And I really didn't expect it, and I thought T1 and Dragon X would be in the finals, with Dragon X taking it and winning the whole event. So it was really interesting when I tuned in and I saw Africa winning so hard and just dominating and winning even the finals 3-0. Keen looked very good. He's by far the best top laner in LCK right now. Um, Maybe not the mechanical one, but overall in terms of everything, every aspect, I think you can definitely see why he would be the best top laner that Korea has to offer. But yeah, also Mystic looked quite good. You know, Mystic, the former WE player, AD carry for them since God knows how long ago, since like 2014, 2015. You know, you remember the WE run in 2017 Worlds, where when they made semifinals. Africa also has the support Ben, you can remember also from that roster, but they played Jelly for the majority of their games. And Jelly, you know, he was a substitute player. He wasn't, getting too much play, but he actually grew into uh, quite stable support, and the bottom lane looked quite good. Also, they didn't start Dread, but they started Spirit in most of their games, and for the playoffs in like all games for, I mean, semifinals and finals. Dread did see a play, but then they lost. So yeah, I guess the dynamics are a little different since Spirit is such an old player and such a veteran and leader. And I think together with Fly they make a really good team because Fly is also known for his communication and leadership skills. So it kind of makes sense Africa won, but at the same time I didn't really expect it. I just thought that the individuals weren't as strong as on the teams like Yuan or Dragon X, so yeah, it was quite surprising. However, this does not mean Africa Freaks are the favorites to win LCK or something. This does not mean that Sandbox are gonna finish higher in the standings than T1 or something. This does not mean that Dragon X just gonna boom and not work. But yeah, it's kind of interesting to see. You know, these teams didn't have much time to practice. Also, we saw the new look of Griffin without Chovy, without Lehans, so that was quite strange because they looked really lost. They played Untara both games, and he looked just like Sword. So, but yeah, I'm gonna get into that later. Um, yeah, so KeSPA Cup quite interesting. You know, we got to see the early process of uh, Korean teams, which is always exciting. But yeah, now let's talk about like the 10 teams that are in LCK this year, and we're gonna go like the weakest to the strongest teams. I'm gonna put the rosters on screen so you can see. But first, in 10th place, we have APK Prince. So this team was promoted to the LCK. They demoted Jinar back to Challengers Korea, and yeah, this team is kind of a mess because uh, most of their players are really unproven and not that good. Like their best player is for sure the top laner Ixu, who is known for his Illaoi, and yeah, he looked good even in KeSPA Cup, but the team around him was just falling apart. The cover, their mid laner was really question mark. Their bottom lane, they have like 10-man roster, you know. They have Flawless as a substitute jungler, previously on JD Gaming, you know, you can remember from 2018, 2019 season. They have Mia, who was KT substitute support in 2019, so you know we might see some roster swaps and stuff. But I don't know, like Ixu, Kuma, Cover, Trigger, and Secret does not seem like a powerhouse team or even a playoff team or even like not relegation zone team. So I think they're gonna probably be the new Jiner. Maybe they're gonna be gatekeepers of the LCK. I'm not quite sure about this team. I don't know them all that well, to be fair, but I don't think they're gonna do great things in 2020 spring. Right now, the ninth place is maybe a little controversial, and it's KT roster. So KT roster got rid of all their players, of all their coaching staff, and they started from scratch basically, and their players are uh, Soan, Bono, Kuro, Aiming, and Tushin. So the names that stand out are for sure Kumo, maybe Tushin. It's also you know, it's very similar to the Africa Freaks roster from 2018, you know, the Kuro, Aiming, Tushin. So yeah, it's quite interesting. Also, their substitute players are Ray, who was on EDG, and Malrang, who was on Jiner last year. So, uh, you know, they played in KeSPA Cup, they played Soan Bono, and they played Ray Malrang. Like, they didn't switch it up or something. So, yeah, but Soan Bono were doing much better than Ray Malrang. So, I'm quite curious where this is gonna go, but like realistically, Tushin isn't playing with depth, so he's not gonna look as good. Uh, we don't know who's starting for top jungle. It should be Soan Bono, but you know it might change. And they have no real carry threat. Like you have Aiming and Kuro. Kuro looked good, to be fair, in 2019. He took BLG. That team was not a fourth place team in LPL, but he made them so fourth place team. So Kuro is definitely not washed up or something. You should not think that. Bono also I rate quite highly, but I don't think that's enough for this team to make it higher than ninth place. So I just don't see this team being too great. Then number 8 we have Hanwha Live Esports. So their roster is QV, Haru, Tempt, with substitute Lava for mid lane, bottom Zenith, and support Lehans with substitute Vsta. Alright, so the names that instantly jump out are Lehans. You know, the Griffin support from last year and even the year before. He's the best support Korea had to offer in 2019, and if that remains the case in 2018, in 2020, I still don't think it's enough for this team to finish higher than 8th place. I mean, in KeSPA Cup they played Lava as their AD carry in all their games, and he looked quite good actually on some picks, but he was losing lanes majority, and Lehens was just carrying him, I think. So uh, on this sheet it says Zenith is gonna be the only AD carry and Lava is a substitute for mid lane. But, you know, we can't really know. Also, uh, we don't know how QA and Haru will be. Haru looked quite lost in some games, and the same goes for QA, although QA looked quite good. Tempt is always decent and never has been really a problem for his team, but this team again does not really have a carry threat. Real carry threat, there's none. So I'm sorry, Hanwha fans, but I can't put this team any higher. For my number 7, it's Sandbox Gaming, and this is quite strange because I was doing these rankings and I couldn't rate them any higher because I just don't see Root, Gorilla, Dav, Onflict, Summit doing great things. You know, they also have a 10-man roster, so we might see some swaps. And as I said, they looked quite good in KeSPA Cup. They defeated T1 in semifinals 3-1, with Onflict getting a pentakill on Olaf. Ellis was molding after that one, yeah. So it was quite funny, but yeah, again, Summit is their best player by far. He's probably the second best top laner in Korea in LCK. For their mid lane, it's Dav and Fate, and I think Dav is gonna be the starting one, but again, we can't really know until the LCK starts. But I think their top side, they kept actually their starting lineup, but their bottom lane is new with Root and Leo for their AD carries and Gorilla and Joker for their support. So I think personally Leo is the better AD carry from this duo and Gorilla is the better support. So they should play Leo Gorilla, but on here it says that Root is the starting AD carry. It's kind of surprising, you know, because Leo was actually doing well in lane versus steady effort. So yeah, that says a lot, even though it's Misfortune and it's the most broken AD carry on this patch, but especially with Aphelios disabled and Senna pretty much permaban, so yeah, but still I expected them to start Leo. However, again, this team, even in 2019, looked good at first because they had the teamwork, but Gorilla is such a big question mark. Root and Leo are kinda as well. So unless Summit, Onflict and Dav like magically carry this team to playoff, I don't think this team should make playoffs, you know. There are teams that have better individual players. There are teams that should have better teamwork, such as Diamond Gaming, for example. And so yeah, I have them in 7th. Next, in number 6 is Griffin. Oh Griffin, how far you have fallen from the best team Korea had to offer, the best rookies Korea had to offer, to a 6th place, not even making playoffs in LCK. So we all know the controversy that went behind, and the contracts were like discarded basically, and players could resign but also could leave for free basically. And Chovy and Lehans and Doran left the team, and Sword, Tarzan and Viper stayed. Well, I thought that they were gonna get some very good top laner and just run it back and maybe win worlds or something, because Tarzan, Chovy, Viper and Lehans are absolutely world class players, and they should be very good even in their series against Invictus Gaming. These 4 players did not have issues, but the Shy and Sword was too big of a difference in skill, so yeah, they could not win. But they added Antara for top lane. This is kinda questionable because Antara and Sword are for me the same players, basically with same strengths and same skills. For their support, it's their substitute support from last year, who is renamed to Iroh. You might remember him as Cabby. The name change happened actually after the KeSPA Cup, so back then he was still Cabby, but it's the same player, don't worry. For their mid lane, they were starting Naehyun, and Yukal said on his stream that he got an offer from an LCK team that he was quite happy with, and later Griffin announced that Yukal is their mid laner. I expected it to be Afrika Freaks, but you know, Griffin, good for Yukal, good for Griffin, I guess. I actually had a sandbox ahead of Griffin without Yukal, but I expect Yukal to be the starting one, even though on here it says Nahian is gonna be starting. Yukal is very good in lane, but you know, he's the pronounced Talia one trick and stuff, but I think he improved a lot during his time on KT and even Afrika, even though he wasn't getting a lot of playtime last year, he still was one of the better players Afrika had last year, so I expected him to stay with Afrika, but yeah, just kinda happened to be like this. Uh, Also their coaching staff, they have Radar, their previous substitute mid laner and previous Flash Wolves mid laner, is their new coach. Also GBM and A-Dragon and Chaos returning. TCMX is out obviously, so you know, I don't really know because Tarzan and Viper are still world class players. Tarzan is probably the second best jungler in Korea. However, I don't think other lanes are gonna be able to carry. And yeah, that left. I think they could fight for playoffs. I think they could knock the next team, the fifth team out, but yeah, it's a toss up for sure. Well, now we get into playoffs, and the fifth team in LCK finishing fifth, I have Afrika Freaks, the winners of KeSPA Cup. They have the best top laner in Korea in Keen. They have Spirit, Fly, Mystic, and Jelly. As I've mentioned, Mystic, previous WE player, I'm not gonna get into that. However, this team looked really good in KeSPA, and they seem to work very well as a team. They seem to know what's up, and Keen finds every opportunity to get Mystic ahead. Fly also. They're giving resources to Mystic and Keen, which is the best I think they could do. And Spirit is a really good glue piece together with Fly. So this mid jungle is not strong, however, it makes the team function, so that's very good. I don't really have anything else to say. I don't think this team can really go any higher, but they should make playoffs. They should expect themselves to make playoffs, and yeah, that's about it. Now, number 4th, it's T1. Well, even though I expect T1 to start the spring split slow, I expect them to get better as the time progresses, and even though I have them finishing 4th in spring split, I think they'll make it to Worlds by the end of the year, so yeah. What's important for T1 is that they kept Faker and Teddy. These players are world class again, they're one of the best in their positions in Korea. And they have strong substitutes such as Gori and Gumayushi. Gumayushi is actually really praised by a lot of pro players and Dopa, for example. They also kept Effort, which, you know, Effort looked good and looked bad, and it's really hard to, you know, it's really hard to make anything of it because I can't really tell whether he's good, and he sometimes like has these bad moments, but it's a big question mark. Also, they lost Coma this offseason and lost Khan and Clit, so how did they fix this? Well, first they signed Coach Kim, the previous coach of Longzhu Gaming, of Longzhu, of Invictus Gaming, which he won Worlds with, and last year he coached Damwon Gaming, and now he's moving on to T1 for 3 years, and yeah, he's their head coach, so he has mentioned in many interviews that he's looking for a long term and not immediate success. Obviously, they want to win a championship, but it's probably gonna take more time, he said. Well, for top lane, he got Roach as the starting one, as the starting top laner, and then he got Kana as a substitute. However, in KeSPA Cup, Kana was playing majority of the games, and when Roach played, the team looked much more stable actually. For the jungle spot, they got Cass, who was probably the best they could get. They started negotiating pretty late in the offseason because Klid and Khan kinda wanted to leave, but kinda did not. But they got better offers, obviously. Genji Klid and FPX Khan, even though FPX is not doing too hot at the moment, actually. So they also swapped out all their coaches. Their whole coaching staff is new. So as I've mentioned, head coach is Kim, and coaches are Comet, Moment, and I believe they have Tolki as their foreign coach. So yeah, he's French and stuff. So that's quite exciting. T1 is looking for more of a international recognition, I guess you could say, because they're making these moves that, like for example, they partnered with Nike. They are sponsored by Nike, so that's, a huge brand. So yeah, I think T1 is not gonna be one of the better teams. I mean, they're gonna be one of the better teams, obviously, but I don't think they should expect to win Worlds or something like that. They should not expect to win LCK even. They should hope they go to Worlds and show great performances there, but by their clutch players Faker and Teddy. But yeah, Faker has to step up. Teddy has to step up. Faker and Teddy have to be able to lead the team well. So yeah, um, Faker and Teddy have to be able to lead the teams. So yeah. Uh, the next up we got Genji, the third place team. The team I expect to make Worlds. Well, their lineup is Rascal, Klid, BDD, Ruler, Life with substitute Kellen. So yeah, they have a really good roster. Like, there's not much to say. They have the best jungler in Korea by far, Klid. They have one of the better mids in Korea, BDD. They have possibly like top 380 carry Ruler, who is really good, obviously. They have Rascal, which is the one kinda question mark, even though not really, because he's really stable. And Life, returning from the 2019 roster. And well, I expect them to do well. However, then there can be some clashes in terms of playstyle. Ruler has always liked to play the game slow. He was the best when the whole Arden meta. He was a rookie back then and he won Worlds, so that's quite incredible. However, I still expect this team has too much star power to lose, like to teams like Africa Freaks or Griffin or something like that. So I expect them to make top 3, maybe make semis in LCK, and then to lose, probably, because these players have never played together, really. Klid, BDD, Rascal, together with Ruler and Life, and the players that stay are usually the one that dictate the pace at which the game is played. So if Ruler has to be the leader, then it's kinda bad because you don't wanna play late game in this season. I mean, LCK always plays late game, but still, it's kinda questionable. I don't know. I'm skeptical about this team, even though many people are putting them first and second, but there are question marks. However, they're not as visible. Okay, now let's get to let's get to the second best team in Korea, Damwon Gaming. They kept their whole starting lineup from last year, which is kind of a surprise because everyone expected them to replace Nuclear with someone better. I expected personally a Deft or Ruler to sign with Damwon, and that team would be really star-studded, but Instead, they kept Nuclear, which, yeah, that's kind of a surprise. Oh well, what can you do, right? I still think this team is very individually gifted, and I think even Nuclear has a room to improve, even though he's really old at this point. Not like really old, but he's one of the older players for sure, and he gets outperformed in Korea by other carries, but yeah, he's not that bad to drag the team down. Also, they lost Coach Kim to T1, but they got Coach Zepha, who was with T1 last year, so they kinda traded the coaches. Um, it's important that Nuguri keeps improving and that Kenyon and Showmaker realize their potential and really dominate the mid jungle. They're probably the best mid jungle we have in Korea in terms of mechanics. So yeah, we have to see. But yeah, this team should definitely look for Worlds. This team should definitely look for winning the LCK. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Now, for the best team in Korea, it's a surprise to many, probably, but I have Dragon X finishing first. I expect this team to roll over everyone, um, but they have quite interesting backstory. So, when the offseason started, Deft re-signed with Dragon X and they signed CVMAX, but then CVMAX got suspended, so Deft wanted to leave the team kinda, and I was really scared for that because it would be a waste if he could not get any good players or a coach or something. But luckily, CV Max's ban was kinda postponed and kinda like removed, so when it was announced they're getting Chovy and Doran, it was really huge news, obviously, because they got the best mid in Korea and one of the better top laners in Korea. So that roster was already looking great. Also, they announced they promoted their two rookies, Korea for support and Piosik for jungle. Um, so yeah, what to make of this team? Well, they have some of the best individual players in LCK. Um, I expect Korea to very much be the best support, even though that's kind of a statement in itself, right? Because he's a rookie. However, I saw him play solo queue, and let me tell you, that guy is a monster. Straight up, he's very good mechanically, and he has been playing duo queue with Teddy, with Deft. So yeah, this guy already showcased at KeSPA Cup what he's capable of, and even Deft in an interview said that Keria has too good of a mechanics and it's waste of his mechanics for him to play support. So, you know, if Deft says something like this, it means a lot, you know. But their one sole question mark is Pioshik, their jungler. You know, this guy was a Kindred one trick, he was a streamer, he's quite young, obviously, and he was kinda given a chance by CV Max, so we'll see how this one goes. But even though he does not even have to be that great of a jungler, if he just plays well and listens to Chovy Deft, then they're gonna win a lot of games. I'm really high on Keria. I think he's gonna be good. So they are probably gonna have the best bot lane in LCK together with the best mid laner. However, there's a twist to this. In a recent interview, Chovy stated that um, uh, they are able to swap roles because Deft uh, showcased a lot of skill on Irelia, so maybe for the first match, Deft is gonna be playing top lane, Chovy is gonna be playing bottom lane, and Quad, their substitute mid laner, was promoted to the main roster, is gonna be playing mid lane, which kinda blows my mind. And it was actually said that Quad is gonna be playing instead of Doran in the first game of round 1. So yeah, it's kind of surprising. Yeah, so now let's get into the more general stuff. I think most teams got stronger, however, there are some really question marks such as Griffin, like what happened? Obviously we know what happened, but it's just really sad. Why did Tarzan and Viper stay? I do not know up until this day, so we'll just have to see. There are teams with a lot of upside, such as Dragon X or Damwon, but there are teams with kind of unproven talent, such as Freaks, perhaps. Yeah, I just don't know, because if they keep playing Spirit, for example, and Jelly, that combination is kind of like Spirit is proven, Jelly is unproven, and they can play also like Dread and Ben. Dread is kind of unproven, even though he played a bit, and Ben is unproven. I don't think they'll play like Ben and Spirit or Dread and Jelly, because that team I think would be unstable. But yeah, overall, I think we don't have as many rookies as I thought we were gonna have. Like, what are the rookies? Pioshik, Keria, and then there's probably like the whole APK Prince roster. I don't know all the players, maybe some of them have already played. Then there's not really many rookies. Maybe T1 Kana. Maybe we'll see Curry, their support. He played one game in semifinals against Sandbox actually and lost, so effort was back in. But yeah, I don't think it's kinda LCK has to win an international tournament, because if they won't, it really will be just a tragedy at this point. Korea has fallen so down from their glory days that they have to win an international tournament at this point, because yeah, it's gonna be in shambles otherwise. Alright, so I'm not gonna drag this on any longer, so thank you all for watching. If you like my content, please subscribe, please like the video, um, leave a comment of some sort, you know, constructive critique would be really helpful, because this is new for me, and I appreciate that if you watch until this point. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.